What is going on, YouTube familia? In this video, I'm going to be talking about why I've stopped putting so much money into the stock market. And really, this is going to be more of a mindset shift type of video. And really, my main goal with this video is to show people that you can still make money in different ways. You don't have to necessarily invest in the typical assets that are normally pushed around, like the stock market or real estate or anything like that. There's tons of ways that you can invest in yourself, you can invest in your own businesses, and still continue to make money and still continue to grow your wealth time over time. Now, that might not make a ton of sense right now, but by the end of this video, it's gonna make sense, and I think it's gonna open some of your eyes about how you can really turn a little bit of money into a lot of money pretty easily. And I really think this is gonna put a lot into perspective about, even if you have no idea what you're doing in the stock market or any of the typical asset classes that are normally pushed around, you can still invest your money in different asset classes and continue to make fantastic amounts of money. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys get a ton of value out of this. All I ask is you drop a like on the video. That really does help out the channel, and that really helps the channel grow in a massive way. Also, do not forget to subscribe if this is the first video that you are seeing from me. If you want to see a new video from me every single week, as well as my podcast, which we have some really special guests coming on. You might even see one this upcoming Wednesday by the time you guys are seeing this, if I did that math correctly. But super excited to do this podcast that's coming up. I'm beyond excited. And yeah, let's get into the video, guys. Now, I've mentioned in a few videos that I really don't have a desire to put a ton of money into the stock market for probably the rest of 2021 or so, because I have a desire to build up my cash levels a little bit more. I put a ton of money into the market this year and the end of 2020, and I've seen a lot of valuations that are really intriguing to me, a lot of stocks, a lot of companies that have been really beaten down, so I continue to buy them. If I like a stock at a certain valuation and then that stock price goes down, it only makes sense to continue to buy that stock because I can pick up shares for cheaper, and ultimately I'll be able to see a greater return. Like, for example, if that didn't make any sense, let's say I'm buying a company at a $20 billion valuation, and I say to myself, after doing all my research and running all my numbers, that company is undervalued. Well, let's say that company goes from a $20 billion valuation to a $15 billion valuation. If that company is undervalued, I believe, at $20 billion after doing all the research, that company is still undervalued and even more undervalued at $15 billion. So it just makes sense to continue to buy more shares. It's like when you go to get a new iPhone. If you're buying a new iPhone for $1,000 and all of a sudden you see it on sale for $700, you're not gonna say, I'm not going to buy that iPhone now because it's on sale. No, you're probably gonna buy two iPhones. But that's not the main reason we're gonna discuss in this video. There is a reason why I don't wanna say I've stopped putting money into the stock market, because I'm always going to be putting money into the stock market, at least a little bit here and there. But the reason I've really stopped dumping money into the market hand over fist is because I really want to focus on putting more money, putting more cash into my own business ventures. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of reasons why I want to do this, and hopefully kind of just give you guys some food for thought. So maybe if you're someone that just continues to dump money into the stock market or continues to dump money into real estate, maybe this will really be like I said earlier, like more of a mind shit video where you can kind of like take a step back and be like, okay, maybe I can put capital somewhere else. The first reason I've really stopped putting so much money into the stock market, and the first reason that I've really decided I want to put more capital into my own business ventures, is because I have more control over my money and how the business is run. So for example, let's say I buy 100 shares of Apple right now today, right before the market closes. Well, I'm not really gonna have any sort of insight or any sort of, I guess, input is probably the better word, to where Apple is going to go. In fact, if I really tried to get a hold of Tim Cook and say, I think Apple should go in this direction, I either one, wouldn't get through, or two, I'd probably get laughed at. But with my own business ventures, if I see an opportunity, if I see a need in society and I decide, hey, I can create this, I can build this, I can do that to really solve this problem, and that's really gonna bring a lot of value to a lot of people, I can take my own capital and put it into that and really steer whatever direction I want that business venture to go in, and then go from there. For example, if I want to start a podcast, which I already have, shameless plug, it might make more sense for me to put a few $1,000s up front into some high quality microphones, some headphones, an interface, a camera, and see what I can turn a few $1,000s into, as opposed to putting a few $1,000s into the stock market and maybe just doubling my money. But if I do decide to put a few $1,000s into the podcast or a different business venture, it gives me more of an opportunity to also create multiple streams of income, such as ad revenue, as well as sponsors, and more on top of of that as well. And let's say I turn $3,000 into $100,000, those returns in the stock market don't typically come off of a single stock too often. Not to mention the potential networking opportunities that come with that as well, which we're gonna get into in a bit. But it's also just gonna feel really good to see yourself put money into this business, this idea, this vision, and just see it grow over time. And you're gonna be able to look back and say, I built this, I did this when no one else believed in it. The second reason is the reason that I just described. You can put less money in and see more money out. Now, obviously there's gonna be a point when I'm paying myself a salary from all of these ventures that I'm working on, but as of right now, I just plan on dumping more and more money back into the business, keep upgrading the equipment, better microphones, another interface, which I just got both of those, better headphones, just continue to upgrade the equipment and upgrade the quality and bring as much value as I can in the best quality possible. And down the line, that might expand even more. I might hire an editor. I might want to travel to do some of these podcasts, whatever the case may be. But like I was saying, you can put less money in up front and see more out of it as opposed to in the stock market. Like for example, my goal when I put my money into a stock is to double my money within 3 to 5 years, let's say. And I don't think that is going to change over time. I don't think I'm going to get to the point where I'm day trading and really trying to double my money in say 1 to 2 months or anything like that. I just don't see myself doing that. Could I see myself getting back into some short-term stuff eventually? I guess maybe. I guess I wouldn't be opposed to sitting down and learning it a little bit better if I ever have the time for it and I really want to make it a priority. But as of right now, I don't have any desire to get involved in that type of investing. And at first, and with any business venture, you're not going to be able to double your capital immediately. It could actually take a little while to do so. If you put say $5,000 into some sort of setup or some sort of business, it might take even a couple of years to see you get that $5,000 back, depending on how fast the business moves. But once you get that business off the ground and once you get it up and running, it's going to be most likely very easy for you to double that capital that you put in. For example, let's say I want to upgrade my camera and I want to buy the Sony a7 III, which I really do want to buy in the nearest future. That's very expensive, but I really do think that would provide a lot of quality to the channel from a film perspective. So let's say I buy that. Well, with that upgrade in quality, and we'll round that camera off to say being $2,000, that could be a single sponsorship. So in theory, by buying that camera, I could double my capital within just 2 sponsorships, just for example here. So in theory, it could be very well worth it to upgrade the equipment and see that boost. The third reason, this is gonna be a little bit more of a quicker one, but the third reason I've decided to put more money into my business ventures, and we are kind of backtracking a little bit here, and put less money into the stock market, is the aspect of networking. So let's backtrack again a little bit here. If I put money into Apple stock, yes, I am most likely going to make money. Yes, I am most likely going to double my capital eventually, but I'm not going to be networking with Tim Cook, if you know what I mean. But if I continue to invest in the personal brand, I continue to build out these different businesses, it's going to be much more likely that I'm going to have more people reach out to me. And when I reach out to others, they're going to be more likely to respond. Bigger influencers, maybe in some celebrities. I might even get asked to fund some startups. Whatever the case may be, people might just want to hear my opinion a little bit more. And that's not going to come if I continue to silently invest in the stock market. And lastly, the fourth and final item on this list as to why I'm limiting the amount of money I'm putting into the stock market is because I want to work on increasing my income. And this one might seem a little counterintuitive here. Now, I've made several different videos about how you should always have multiple income sources. You don't need to have 30 or 40 income sources, but can you have 2? Yes, you can have 2 and anyone can have 2. One can be your job and one can be investing in the stock market, any sort of S&P 500 fund, anything like that. And while investing in an S&P 500 fund, whether it's through a brokerage account, a Roth IRA, whatever the case may be, that is definitely a second source of income, and that's definitely a great tool you can use to build your wealth. That's almost, I put that in kind of like a different income source category. And what I mean by that is when I put money into my brokerage, when I put money into my Roth IRA, whenever I put it into one of those accounts, the money is essentially gone. Like I never want to pull that money out of that account at any point. That's literally a last ditch effort. Like your back's against the wall and you have no money to pay your rent, you have no money to pay your mortgage, you literally cannot afford to eat. That is a last ditch effort in my personal situation. At least that's how I look at it, because I just want to leave that money in there and continue to compound over time. Plus, I don't want to get involved in the game of taking money out and paying the tax on it, or potentially paying penalties or anything along those lines. It's just not a game I want to play. It's not a game I want to get involved in. So obviously, if you couldn't tell by that rant, Pulling money out of those accounts is a last ditch effort, which includes the profits and the gains I make on those stocks I buy. But if I put more money into my own business ventures and I end up paying myself a salary over time, I obviously get my salary in the form of cash. And that's not money that was made from stocks or anything like that. That was money that was made from my own business ventures. So I can use that money, that physical cash, and do what I decide to do with it, whether that's paying my rent, paying my mortgage, buying groceries, whatever the case may be, and I don't have to pull any money out of those accounts. And that's actually awesome because when you have that money, you have options, and options are absolutely fantastic. I can take that money and put that money into more stocks, or I can use that money to pay my rent, or I can maybe go buy a real estate property. I have options. I can even use that to build up my rainy day fund. Options are a great thing, and more cash puts you in a situation of power. Obviously, you don't want to have too much cash lying around because then you have a cash problem. Then you're worried about your money getting devalued. But if you do have cash around, I've said this so many times, I'm gonna continue to say it, you are in a position of power. You don't ever wanna be at the mercy of the market. Now, let me be clear before I end this video, I'm never going to actually stop investing in the stock market, probably ever. But at the same time right now, it just makes a little bit more sense to me to take a step back, maybe not put as much capital into the market, especially when I've deployed a lot of money over the last 12 months or so, and put some more money into my own business ventures that I have more control of, that I can turn that few $1,000s or tens of thousands of dollars, whatever the case may be, into hundreds of thousands of dollars quicker than I could in the stock market. So hopefully you guys get a ton of value out of this. Hopefully this really helps shift your mindset. Hopefully you guys are gonna take this into consideration for the next time you keep blowing through all your paychecks and just keep putting capital into the stock market. Not to say you shouldn't, I'm not giving any financial advice or anything like that because I'm not a financial advisor, but I always think it's worth looking at the other side of the coin and seeing what something else can provide from a return perspective. So in saying that, guys, that is going to be it for this video. I'm not really sure how long it was. I think it is gonna come out to be pretty short. It might even be less than 10 minutes. I can't remember the last time I posted a video that was less than 10 minutes, but really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you do, like I said earlier, please drop a like on the video. That's all I ask. That really helps out the channel. That really helps the channel grow massively. If you want to subscribe, feel free to go ahead. We got some great things coming for this channel, probably within the next week or two. I know some of you guys that follow this channel, I've been talking to you about what is coming, and yeah, thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you guys in next week's video.